So we've had some exciting news that has just dropped for AMC, and we're going to be going through that in today's video. Now, don't forget to like this video as it does help this channel out a lot, and it does let me know to continue to give you AMC analysis every day. And if we hit 500 likes on this video, I will do another AMC analysis for tomorrow as well. But let's get into AMC and where it actually sits at, because we actually had an interesting day. It did close at $2.35. Now, it did actually have a negative 4.08% day, and it was something that we were expecting. Now, we did have 3 days in a row of green before this, and that's why we were expecting somewhat of a pullback for sure. And looking at this, sort of how would I say this sort of trend that is forming, we do know this falling wedge continues to form and continues to move in the direction which we were expecting. Now, when it actually comes to this, obviously we did see a little bit of a dip where it did dip below the levels that we thought it would, but now it's starting to creep back up. Now, what we are expecting with this day, because obviously we did have a red day, but what we also did see is that it just closed, just at that support line as well. So that's kind of a good sign of us. We are expecting hopefully another green day up to move in this direction, or the bullish direction, before maybe one more move down before the next move up out of this falling wedge formation. So it is definitely interesting to see. This area kind of had a lot of people scared, where we did see a lot of sell volume, but we were actually able to really counteract that and actually saw some really good buy momentum, which has pushed it above the support, which acted as a resistance just prior. So, very interesting to see. Now, looking at actually the MACD and also stochastic. Now, although we do see overbought sort of kind of section when it comes to the stochastic, MACD does show a little bit of difference, as it does see that we are just starting to head into a bullish sort of momentum move up. So, like I said, with technical analysis with AMC, it is a very, very, interesting, because obviously there is a lot more to AMC than just your, everyday technical analysis as well. So that's why coming into this, it will be very, very, kind of interesting to see how December does play out, because there is expected to be a lot of movement for AMC for sure. But looking at where AMC did actually, or how it actually went off exchange in New York Stock Exchange, we did see off exchange, we saw at 7.5 million in dark volume and off exchange, and on top of that, which it actually equated to 66.80% of today's volume, and then today's lit volume of 3.7 million, which is 33.2%. So very, very interesting to see there. And over the past 30 days, the average off exchange and dark pool volume has been 72.67%, and the average lit volume has been 27.33% as well. So very interesting to see. Obviously, looking at those numbers, it is a lower sort of day for the off exchange percentage. We have had big days of 78%, 82%, those types of days, but the fact that we are sitting at 66, yes, it is lower compared to AMC, but what we do also know when it comes to AMC as well is that it is still very, very high. For any other stock, 66% is considered insanity, but for something like AMC, it is considered another day in the office for sure. Now, looking at, the total short volume reported, 37.69. We also have total volume reported of 8.9 million, which is also lower than the day before. And then we saw total long volume reported of 62.31 as well, which was lower than the day before as well. So, interesting to see there. But looking into some of the news that has been going around in AMC, now we actually have seen quite a lot of, different sort of news happening. But we started off with this. I just bought 30,000 shares of AMC. Yes, I did. So we see a lot of people still buying in at these levels, which I think is interesting. Now, obviously, this is HYMC. So this is actually the wrong screenshot. So I think that's, kind of interesting to see, but this is the wrong screenshot. But, there is still a lot of buying pressure that is coming in to AMC, which I think is great. Now, this one was definitely the major one, which is AMC Theater's highest record attendance in 2025. So this one was fantastic to read. Families flocked to AMC Theaters during the Thanksgiving holiday as AMC records its busiest week in 2025, Monday through Sunday in the US and globally. More than 6.9 million guests visited AMC or Odeon movie theaters. So absolutely fantastic. And this is definitely the type of movement that we are expecting to come. AMC isn't really, in a place where a lot of people think it is, that no one's going to AMC theaters or no one's going to movie theaters in general. It is still very much booming. And if anything, people are now looking more towards going to theaters rather than just watching it at home, whether it's on a Netflix, on a Hulu. So I think it is really interesting to see there. Now we saw this from AMC, fueled by a strong US Thanksgiving holiday weekend. AMC recorded its highest Monday through Sunday weekly attendance in 2025 in the US and globally of November 24 to 30. So during that same time frame, more than 5.5 million people visited AMC in the US and more than 1.3 million attended an Odeon Cinemas location internationally. So absolutely huge to see for AMC and where it's actually moving. I do believe there is starting to be a lot more buzz around theater watching and also watching movies in theaters. I do believe it is very, very underrated at the moment, and I do believe there is going to be a massive shift of people moving from, watching it at home on Netflix, on Hulu, on sort of these sort of platforms, and moving to a more better real life experience in an AMC theater for sure. So we definitely see that coming through for sure. Now we had this post as well from Adam Aaron himself, who said, last week, I got to tell you that 4.5 million people were guests at AMC theaters and Odeon cinemas. Big numbers. But now I have the distinct privilege to tell you that more than 6.9 million people were guests at our theaters this week, our highest attended week of 2025. So like I mentioned before, December is definitely going to be a really great time for theaters. Like I mentioned before, when it comes to families, they're starting to get into holiday mode. Kids are going on holidays, or like school holidays in that sense. So theaters are definitely going to be the place that a lot of people tend to go to. And the fact that a lot of big movies, such as Zootopia 2, such as Wicked, are starting to roll out, kind of late November, early December, as being some of the great box office times for it. I do believe it is going to be very, very, lucrative for AMC as a business, as we could see revenue numbers definitely skyrocket from it. So it is going to be, a really, really good time for theaters in the month of December, and it is going to set it up for a great future ahead. Now, we also had this post from them who said the new AMC popcorn pass just dropped, and it's a big poppin' deal, 50% off large popcorn every day in 2026. Now, this doesn't have too much to do with the stocks, but more on where AMC is going. As I mentioned before, I think it's fantastic that AMC are continuing to push out, try to get as many or as much foot traffic as possible into the doors of AMC theaters, because it is definitely going to pay dividends, for the future for AMC for sure. But as I mentioned before, when it comes to, AMC and where it actually is at, I do believe it is in a space where, obviously a lot of moving pieces in the month of December, but I do believe the corruption that we do know all about AMC and the off exchange, the dark pool, all that stuff is starting to slowly become more into light, more than we have expected. So I do believe it is going to be, very, very, or I would say a hot topic over the next couple of months as Trump's, sort of service starts to really dig down on what is going on, because they could find a lot of things that the SEC, that FINRA have definitely avoided or ignored for so much time now. So, coming into this next sort of month, and also I do believe January and February is going to be a great month for actually AMC. It is going to be interesting to see how this does play out for sure. But all in all, I think the AMC is in a really, really good spot. Yes, we had a bit of a red day, as of recent, but I do believe that is going to change for sure.